Hi, Ellen.
It automatically mutes itself. It's a little annoying. I come in expecting to be able to talk and I start talking and it's always muted. And it's like, wait a minute. Oh, well.
I know it's that I put that setting on. That's my fault.
It's not a bad thing. It really isn't. Okay.
Page 2. Okay. Did I send that? That's page.
Are you sending things? Because I'm gonna have to get off to get them, I think.
Well, I think what we're gonna do is, I think what we need to do, Ellen, is, so we have stuff which I'm gonna send out to everybody, but it's, I think the important thing will be, sorry, I'm hiding, I lost you. Sorry. I didn't get that last scan in. Okay.
Oh dear.
So I think we need to just talk through about all the ones they are and schedule the appointments for everything.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, so we'll just need to know what,
who they are and what they
who
are.
they are. Thank you.
And we're still missing, I know Tim's still, he's looking for a dump truck, and
yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
He's been working on getting quotes, but it's been really slow. So he doesn't have quotes yet.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's slow everywhere to get anything, especially in, where you drive by that one in Gardner, right out off of 90 of what am I on Route 2, and they really don't have a lot in stock, and they do trucks all the time.
Yeah.
And it, goes back to that needing the chip and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi there.
Michael, I must ask you, that beautiful thing behind you, is that something Rita made, or did you make it? You're muted.
You're still muted. Michael, you're muted.
There we go.
There you
Yes.
are.
Yes, Rita made that.
It's gorgeous.
It's perfect to hear it's a halo.
Yes, it is. Exactly.
Or you can think of it as horns that have grown together.
I like the halo better.
Wow. That's
It's
good.
just very attractive.
Oh.
Okay. It is now 6:02. So I call the meeting to order. Then we start reviewing the agenda. Do you all have a copy of the agenda? Yes.
I don't have one in front of me here, but
Okay. It's very short.
yeah, I can probably, I've read it, so
Okay. Probably review it. Okay. So coming on to the next piece of business then. Oh, well, first of all, is there anything else any of you think should be added to this agenda at the end? Hi, Steve.
I don't have anything.
Nor do I.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll wait till Steve gets in. You're muted, though.
That's how I like it.
Very good. That's how you like it, huh? That way you can mutter under your breath, and unless we can read lips, we have no idea what you're saying. Are you making supper or eating?
Making supper.
Okay. Okay. So next thing we're supposed to do is have public comment for 5 minutes. Anyone have anything to say? You're
Well,
not the
there's
public.
no
you're a member of the-
public here, Ellen.
No, yeah, right. There aren't any. So I assume that means we can just continue on. It says review the minutes. Who took the minutes last month? Because Michael wasn't there. Nobody took any kind of minutes. Not that we did anything, but moved everything to the next meeting.
I know one thing, I did not take the minutes.
I didn't take the minutes.
I
No,
do
'cause you
remember what
weren't there.
happened. We just reviewed the request documents.
Yeah, right. That was,
And-
then that's some of what we did.
and
So somebody
adjourned.
just want to write that up. That's all we did was go over the 2 pages, the requests and, and the form and everything else, and made some changes. Okay, now capital requests that have come in. I'm going to turn it over to Becky.
Okay, so, and I have almost all the forms ready to send out. We have, just want to start with the school sent their capital planning form like they have in prior years. And they list the gym roof and the conference room sliders as both being in progress. And then the HVAC controls is on their list for this year. They have probably the same items as last year. They want a new phone system, parking lot, and some sidewalks. And outside a building, they want it to be painted and the rotting wood replaced, as well as
Okay.
all the gutters
Oh, wow.
and more wood rot. But I'll send that full request out to you guys. I'm sorry, this one, Steve had forwarded early, probably months ago, right, Steve?
That's correct. Yeah, the only thing they added to it was for this year was the siding, painting and replacing the rot.
Yep.
Okay, there was something you, Becky, I got the 2, I'm trying to write this down. I got the 2 that are in progress. And then I've got the phone, but there was something else you said between those 2.
I'm
The
assuming, Becky, that we're
H-
going to get this in writing, so I don't
Oh,
have
yeah,
to
we
try
will.
to write
Yeah,
all
yeah,
this down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm just writing it down. What was the other thing?
the HVAC controls.
HVAC, yes. Okay, great. Thank you. At least I have it down so I have a feel for how much time that's going to take, probably a whole meeting. Okay, who else do we have?
The library is in the case of not getting the grant. This is totally dependent on if they do not get the grant, they will again request $25,000.
Mm-hmm.
And they will know that in January.
January, right.
early
End of
February.
January or something.
Yeah, end of January, beginning of February, they should get their answer.
Okay,
So they wanted to make sure to put in a place in case, but they're hoping not to have to pursue it.
I'm into that. That would be very nice.
Walter Tibbetts is asking for a new Ford Intercept SUV for the fire chief. And as some of you, at least probably most of you are aware, Walter's last day is going to be June 30th, 2022. So he's not asking for this for himself. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of discussion to come. He also, I know in the past, the vehicle he now has was handed down from the police department.
I believe all his vehicles have been handed down. I don't think he's
Yeah.
ever had a new one.
Right. And so that's that request. And the Shutesbury Library, and Tim Hunting is going to be requesting a dump truck to replace his dump truck, which is the largest one that they have. I believe it's 20 years old. But we'll look further into that. He has gone out, he's been talking to people, trying to get quotes. And for the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's been really slow going. He had hoped to have it for tonight, but he doesn't have details yet. For dump trucks, they are ordered in 2 pieces. They order the body from one company and then they order the other part from a separate company and then they put them together. There are not companies that make both parts. So we hope to have his bid by the next meeting.
Mhm.
The
Steve,
poli-
Vicky, wants-
Yeah.
Yes, Steve, go ahead. You're muted. There.
On purpose. So yeah, this is the 2003 10-wheeler. And we had the guy Parker Brown who does the actual bodies with, with the chains and the sander equipment on them. And he said, we're probably looking at about $300,000 for this truck.
Oh, dear God.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he says that the price of stuff is just cuckoo.
Yep.
And he doesn't think that commercial vehicles they're not gonna come down.
Oh, I can just confirm that, I bought a used pickup truck from Greenfield Ford to the summer of 2020. And they offered me this summer $10,000 more than I paid for it because
Yeah.
there's such a shortage of vehicles out there. And so my sister is going to buy a car this year. I said, don't.
Yeah,
This is going to sort itself out. But at this point,
yeah,
everything is so high because the supplies are so limited.
yep.
So it's extraordinary. Like used vehicles are selling for more than they sold for new.
Hmm.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
So anyway,
heard
we'll have
that.
to consider that when we do our deliberations. We'll have to consider that.
Well, that you all would be, the finance committee would be doing the deliberations on it, because we don't get involved with costs. Okay, then the other thing would be police department.
Okay, so police department, she is, would like to get an electronic speed board. We've been searching for grants to get one and have not found one, and she's constantly getting told that she better get one by the select board and other people. So she has put in a quote, I believe it's from the state contract for, I think it's a solar powered speed board. It's got a 50-watt solar power package and as well as the battery box on it. That we do have an older model, it's about 20 years old, that has a battery that has to be charged in town hall or somewhere and then hauled back out. So it doesn't last for long, it can't be out there for a whole week, it'll stop working. So they do try to use it. They haven't, they need a chain for that one. This one I hope will have an easier way to attach to things so it won't get stolen. It's $3,800.
And we're in the minority now, not having one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Every town I drive through seems to have one except us.
Yeah,
It's fun to see how fast you can get going when you go through one.
Yeah,
We actually have 3 nice big ones held hostage at lot 032.
I saw that. Yeah.
yeah, I know. I saw that when I drove by.
Yeah, down in Chilmark where I work sometimes, and also on the Vineyard and other towns down there, a lot of the towns have these permanent sort of electronic speed control, not speed detectors. So if you're entering a zone, like Pelham has one now, it'll tell you the speed limit and it'll give you your
Yeah.
speed.
Yeah,
And I think for a lot of people, that's all they really need. It's kind of a very inexpensive and sort of practical way to tell people they're going down a hill, they're going too fast, they're entering into a zone that's going to change the speed limit. And I think the cops I talked to in Chilmark said it really works. It makes a difference.
Yeah. I'm sure it does. Yeah, that's the kind that a lot of people
They do have
have.
solar powered ones, so that they don't require a lot of maintenance. They're just there,
I think it would help a lot at the top of the hill. in
Oh,
front of
God.
town hall.
Agree.
And even
Yeah.
right next to near my house as they come buzzing down this hill.
Hey, let's put one near my house too, please. on.
You're on a flat.
They go 60 miles an hour past the bottom of my driveway.
I believe it. I believe it. People have no concept.
It's the biggest straightaway in town, isn't it, Bob? It's-
Yeah, it's like they land the
Yeah.
C5As there when they're in trouble, I think, flat, straight, wide.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so is there anything else police wants?
Yes, they would like a new cruiser,
Yeah, that was a
Um,
cruiser we denied last year,
correct?
probably.
And the vehicle I think has 129,000 miles on it, or 120. But it's not the SUVs.
Right.
It's the oldest vehicle is the one that has been used as the chief's vehicle. But it's had to have quite a bit of work done to it this year, and there's a list of repairs that are needed to keep it on the road, which is part of the consideration if it were to be handed down to another department, that has to be reviewed as well. So she went to MHQ and got quotes for a Ford Utility Police Interceptor, which is an SUV. And she got one that's a hybrid engine and one that is a regular engine. I believe the difference in cost between the two is about $3,000. Yep, the hybrid is $53,276, and the gasoline engine is $50,009. So she will be wanting to review those two quotes, as well as she got a third quote for same vehicle, police utility interceptor, from McGovern Municipal HQ, and the price on that one is $50,442. So the biggest difference is between the hybrid and the regular vehicle gasoline engine. But it seems like, yeah, I think she will probably make an argument that the Interceptor, the hybrid, will spend less on gas and pay for itself potentially in 2 years. So those are the all of the requests, quite a few this year.
Yeah.
And so I guess the next step would be to figure out when
Yes,
to meet with the parties.
exactly where I was at. So, does everyone have their calendars out, please? So, okay, Becky, you have to keep us on the straight and narrow as far as when nobody else is meeting, so to speak.
And that's
this-
getting a little hard to do.
I'm sure.
Yeah, the finance committee meets every day, so I think it's going to be tough.
You, at times you do. What else is new?
The select board is competing with you heavily though on.
Well, we're going to meet with them, so that's a couple of times, so settle that issue. Yeah, so when are we going to do this? Like after Christmas or
We can.
next year or what?
Well, I'm gone the week. I leave on the 30th of December and come back on, wait a minute. Come back on the 7th of January.
I don't have anything in my calendar for those last 3 weeks in January. I'm wide open, at least for the moment, so.
Yeah, I've got a few things, but not my usual stuff. So are we looking at that? Or are we looking at getting one in the next couple of weeks, just so that to make it a little easier on us?
I think that's going to be tough. Just speaking for FinCom, just because there have been a
There's-
bunch of meetings that got scheduled.
There's 4 meetings, Ellen, for finance committee between now and the 21st.
Oh my God, what are you guys doing? And ladies?
We don't know
Wow.
yet.
I bet you
It's not-
know, I just don't.
Hmm.
There's
Wow.
Yeah, there's a regional meeting.
Okay.
A four-town meeting, there's
Yeah.
prep for the four-town meeting. And then the one meeting Jim forgot was the regular meeting on the 14th, and then on the 21st, meeting with the select board to talk about the elementary school budget, which usually happens the beginning of January. So
Mhm.
I think the only meeting I know about, I've got select board on the 4th of January and finance committee on the 11th. Because Melody did find out she doesn't start the classes until the 25th. So,
But what, didn't we traditionally meet on Mondays at 5:30 or 6 or something? Is that what we usually do?
Who's the we? I'm sorry.
Capital
planning?
Capital planning, wasn't that
I
a good
don't-
day for you? In the past?
Yeah, it's okay, except for, no, it's okay through January. In February, I'll have a collision on the 4th, whatever day of the 4th Monday, but. Okay, so what do we want to do? I'm looking at the week beginning January 10th.
10th is okay with me.
10th, gentlemen?
That works.
Michael?
Just checking. It looks like it's okay for me. It's my granddaughter's birthday, but other than that,
Okay. Okay, so we're going to put this in. Oh, come on, don't be difficult. I don't want that in there. Come on.
I'm sorry if you just said this, but what time on the 10th were we saying?
I don't know. We haven't set it up
Okay.
yet, so,
Got it.
okay.
5:30 or 6, 5:30?
Why don't we do 5:30? That way we can,
5:30 works for me.
Yeah.
he's okay with me.
We
yeah.
haven't heard from Steve. Steve, can you make it?
He gave me a thumbs up.
Excellent.
I just go where I'm told.
Okay,
Yes, but can you duplicate yourself?
Oh, I just looked at my
This
calendar. I have a,
evening, yes, I have a regional school committee meeting right after this.
oh, great. Do you really? Why did that jump into it? Wait a minute, I'm just looking because all of a sudden, that doesn't make any sense. All of a sudden, two different things appeared, but they're not on the screen for the date. So I assume what happened was it pulled the kind of thing it was because I started right on FinCom, but I'm also on the FinCom for the FERCog. So I think that's what it picked up. Okay, so if we go on the 10th, January 10th, what time? 5:30. Okay, now which one or two of the applicants would you like to talk with first?
Well, the library should be ready. They would be the first
Yeah.
to be ready to go.
But we want to wait on them because if they get the grant, they won't be coming to
Yeah.
us. And they won't know that till probably the end of January. So we have to kick them off into February.
that makes sense. So we've got police, fire and highway.
Is the highway gonna have something ready for us, you think?
We can hope.
Or do you want to do the fire department?
Fire and school or fire and police?
Well, if we do fire. School's gonna be complicated because there's a whole list. There's a laundry list. And you know what I noticed isn't on there, Becky, is the other half of the roof.
That's being worked, yeah, that's being worked on too. I mean.
Okay, so that should be on the list too.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to do fire and police or fire and highway? Because I think the school's gonna be one whole presentation from what I'm hearing.
Fire and police, then if there's cross conversation about vehicles,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
that could happen.
Yeah, it could. Okay, so fire and police. This first one to start at what, about 5:45?
I'm sorry?
If we start the meeting at 5:30, we plan the first one because we have to go, we have to approve the minutes and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So if we have the first applicant coming in at 5:45,
Okay,
And you want to, let's do the fire. No, I'll tell you what, I'd rather do the police because a lot of times Kristen stays over to go to these meetings, stays in her office to go to the meetings. This way she can get out a little earlier.
Okay,
So 5:45 for police. And what about fire? Well, how much time do we give the police?
20 minutes?
Fine. That'd be 6:05 for the fire.
Okay,
No, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Then do we need to set up another date? I think, or two.
it would be amazing if we could do 2 more.
Yeah, those two are big. I'd almost rather not.
I said 2 more meetings.
Oh, two more Oh, okay. I don't blame you. 1, 2. So that leaves us with the school. And once again, we won't know the library until the end of January, probably.
So
Highway and school are the other two, and then the library will have to be last. Yes, Bob. You're muted.
Clarification, my impression was that the list that we were given from the school, some of those are for this year and some of them are long-term.
right.
No, I know, but we don't
So we're
know.
not going to be dealing with all of them.
No, but we're going to be,
So
could be
I think it's
dealing
not going to
with,
be as complicated as you say, but
I'm hoping not.
so maybe we could schedule 2 people for the second meeting.
Okay. Namely the school and the highway.
Yeah,
And then in February, the library, if they need it.
sounds good.
Okay, so what are we looking for in January again?
Well, do you want to go
I'm
the
for-
20th or do you want, I mean, the
No,
24th? or-
I'm free on the 24th because my meeting got canceled already.
I'm good the 24th.
Yeah, that works.
What time?
24th.
Same
I'm
time for me is
available.
okay.
5:30, okay?
Can we make it 6?
Sure. I appreciate knowing that. Okay, we can make it 6. And
That's
Which
the-
one
that's
first?
24th, right?
Yes. the
which one
24th.
first? School or highway?
Let's do highway.
Highway. At 6:15.
Uh,
And then how much time on that one? Another 20 minutes or more?
Let's make it 30.
30 minutes?
that-
Okay, so that would be 6:45 for the next one, and that would be the school.
Yeah.
Okay, and we don't need to schedule another one until we know whether we have to even have another one.
There you go.
That's very good. That'd be nice to get this over in January, won't it? Yes, AJ.
So just one quick question. I was trying to kind of map these requests onto
Yeah.
the last version of the capital plan document that we had, and I just want to make sure I see for highway, the 2003 Sterling. I assume that's the dump truck that's being replaced.
Yep.
And then on police, would it be the 2015 Ford Taurus that's being
Yes.
replaced? Okay.
Yes.
And then for fire, is it the 2010 Ford Explorer?
Yes.
That would be, okay, got it. All right. So I guess one question, but I don't know, maybe this is something to discuss during those meetings, but I'm just curious about sort of like all 3 of those were mapped on the capital improvement plan for different years, like
Yeah.
and so I'm just kind of curious about like how much thought went into like what specific year those were anticipated to require replacement. Was it just like a sort of basic, like the 7-year or 8-year kind of lifespan? Is that
Yeah, and 20 years for the bigger vehicles.
right? Got it.
I think the cruiser you know, some towns do, they replace their cruisers every 3 years.
Got it.
We
Yeah.
don't have that kind of
Yeah.
flexibility.
Luxury.
Yeah.
So I think, what are they in at now? They used to be at 5, we inched them up quite a
So
bit.
that was on our
7,
capital plan. That's the one that was slated for 2023, for
Correct.
fiscal year 23.
Oh, but it
So-
was
so
also
that-
the
so-
one we talked about last year.
We
and didn't
did,
get-
right. And I think our sort of feedback was maybe we stick to the schedule of,
plan.
yeah. But then I see like for the other 2 vehicles, like the dump truck, that was slotted for fiscal year 24. And the Ford Explorer, the fire department, was slated for 2025. So I'm just kind of curious about like what,
Well, the Ford Explorer is, I mean, it's what is left over, and there wasn't going to be an SUV, and traditionally, a regular vehicle wasn't going to hack it.
right,
So it was more on the basis of wouldn't have an SUV to swap until
Got it.
then.
Yeah, that, and you know, the placement of those is totally a guess,
Right.
because you don't know how much wear and tear they're going to have. I
Yeah.
know, I just heard Kristen talking, I guess you, Becky, was last week, about all the stuff she had to have done to her car just so she could get to work,
Yeah,
because the car was really apparently had some severe problems.
yeah. Well, I would assume the police vehicles are the ones that put on the most mileage, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that would make sense, but yeah. All right,
and they're under more stress, and the failure that, you know, like if one time Walter jumped into his the SUV, the one he had before the one he has currently, and he made it halfway to the call before something fell out of the bottom of the car, and he could, you know, he had to get a tow truck. So it's for emergency vehicles, you try to keep them in better condition. And right now, what Walter's driving is not in very good condition, but it's been manageable.
Steve, you're waving a hand, please, yeah, unmute.
Yeah, so I've found that the AJ, that these years are kind of arbitrary and just picked out of the air, because when I found a capital planning sheet in 2017, when we replaced the 97 International with a 17, that called for that truck to be replaced in 13, and the 10-wheeler we're talking about now was on the list for 2017. So I don't know who decides how and when, but yeah, so it just
Okay.
seems to be
We're
arbitrary.
what we're trying to do, and I have done that, talking to other people. I think the changes that were made to the particular vehicles were because Eric Stocker he thought that we could go out further than we were going. Part of the issue is to strike a balance between real need and the condition of the vehicle, and not creating overly, you know, when department heads were looking at the schedule about 10 or 20 years ago, they would look at it like it was a ticket for a brand new car. And it's not. It's got to be, you know, we've got to evaluate it for its condition, the amount of use, how many repairs it needs. Because we also got in a pickle one time. The reason the 2 SUVs are so close together is because the one of them, you know, was not drivable anymore. We had $5,000 repair on the vehicle to get it to the next year, and there were other things wrong. So this is a guideline as far as the years go,
Right.
and we try to keep it as reasonable as possible.
Well, I guess though, you know, like one thing that does make sense on the capital plan is it seems like these things are staggered so that there isn't like a single year where we're needing to replace 3 vehicles, which is, I think that sounds like now the predicament that we're in, but
But-
which is,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I guess it
AJ,
is what it is. Yeah.
At least the 3 vehicles aren't 2 fire trucks and a highway truck.
Right, yeah,
I mean,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, Steve, you would know about the wear and tear on the highway trucks. I mean, we're coming into winter and I'm sure you're doing any kind of praying you know how to do to keep them running all winter.
That's part of the issue with the 03 Sterling and the 07 Sterling, that they don't even make the exhaust parts anymore for those trucks.
Ooh.
Never mind
Uh,
anything else. We have to fabricate our own now because you can't buy even just
Wow.
exhaust stacks. They don't make them anymore. But
Wow.
the reason that the 10-wheeler is on there now is because the backhoe is approaching 7,000 hours, and that's about where it starts to blow all its hoses and nice things too. So that's going to be
Ay, ay,
showing
ay.
up sometime soon.
Bob?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think just following up on what Becky was saying, I see that the schedule, the long-term capital plan schedule is just a planning tool. And, really, we don't nobody replaces vehicles based on some arbitrary time of ownership. Like if the vehicle needs to be replaced, we have to anticipate, we have to rely on the department head to tell us this is coming up. We see that it's getting more difficult to maintain the vehicle, and then make a request to replace it. If it doesn't need to be replaced because it's running fine and it's in good shape, there's no reason we should be following any arbitrary schedule. I think that's really kind of silly, but I do think it's important to have a long-term plan so we can anticipate things. But really, if we're talking about cruisers and those light vehicles, we're going to pay cash for them anyway. So whether they are spread out
Maybe
in
not.
different years or whatever, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's going to cost 50 grand. So why do it early? Because to make it more evenly distributed, I don't think that makes any sense to me, at least. So let's evaluate these requests on their own merits and
Yep.
see if it makes sense to do it this year, considering the market and so forth as part of our evaluation of whether it's a good idea. We'll have to talk to them, see what they have to say about the present vehicles that they are running.
All right. Yeah, I can't imagine anything worse than Walter went through that time when something fell off the bottom of his vehicle. I mean, you're in an emergency situation and you have to call the tow truck. I mean, that's horrible. And in the highway department is in the middle of plowing and the plow dies. It's not the plow entity, but the truck. I mean, it's just like, wait a minute, guys. The time has come for some of these vehicles to be replaced. And I'm just worried about the safety of all the people involved. Because it's definitely a safety issue if you have a vehicle that may run into a severe problem. And, they all have high mileage relatively for the work they do, the kind of work they do. And okay, so we're going to have to, I'm glad, and I'm glad everybody realizes that schedule is not God. It is not. I mean, just because cities can go around replacing vehicles every 3 years doesn't mean we're going to do it. But we have to look at the situation and how bad the vehicles are, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why we're having the department heads in to tell us.
So we have 2 dates.
Yes,
Good.
that's wonderful. January 10th and January 24th. That's super. Get this all over with. And then we can give it to FinCom for them to continue it.
Sounds
Now
like a good plan.
Yes, it does. Now, we already have had our public comment. And I think we are due to adjourn.
Make a
If I
motion.
have a motion
I'll make a motion.
to adjourn. Do we have a second? Thank
Second.
you. Okay, then any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll do it
Aye.
formally. Very good.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday with your families. Michael, you're going to
You
get to
too.
see the baby?
Oh, yes. Well, it's hard today. I'll see her on Friday. So it's.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Now that baby's old enough to probably
Mhm.
understand a little, right?
She's 11 months now, so.
Okay, she can understand a little.
Right, yeah.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Yes, bye, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.